our main interest was on trying to establish how the government of Rwanda and donors have engaged civil society in creating their own enabling environment, because this was one of the key agreements in Busan in 2011, where the president of the country, Honorable Kagame, represented the continent in articulating a new development cooperation framework that is supposed to lead into better outcome for development, transparency and accountability, and indeed put government in strong leadership in managing its own development affairs. I think the results of the research are there for everybody to discuss. Indeed, the research is not a scorecard on the government of Rwanda, on how it has engaged on creating an enabling environment, but it provides a document or a framework through which national dialogue can begin in a multi-stakeholder way between the government of Rwanda, civil society organizations, and development partners to create enabling environment for civil society in order for them to be more effective in delivering development results. I think with regard to Rwanda, there's indeed a lot of things that some countries, countries can learn. One of the things is the legal framework, the need to have the right legal framework for civil society to be able to operate in, and also the need to have the right law for civil society to be able to access information. I think with that regard, there is a big plus for the government. But certainly we still need to do a lot more in terms of the implementation of these laws, the interpretation of the laws, but most importantly, creating enabling spaces for civil society to jointly work with government in creating sufficient enabling environment for them to be effective. Yeah. I think definitely going forward, we need to encourage dialogue in terms of addressing the remaining challenges of creating an enabling environment, reviewing the legal framework itself, and also laws that pertain to issues of freedom of assembly for civil society, and reform this in a way that is enabling for civil society to be effective development actors.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm Eugene Rwibasira. I'm the Executive Director of Rwanda Development Organization. The meeting is a validation meeting that has brought together civil society organizations in Rwanda, the other development partners including international NGOs, donors and government. It is meant to understand the operating environment, the enabling environment of the civil society in development effectiveness. Ideally, civil society is recognized since the Busan in 2011 as development partners in development effectiveness. And therefore it is in that regard that civil society cannot operate in vacuum, but it needs some enabling environment for this to be effective. And that's why we conducted this research, in particular for the Rwandan case, to assess the enabling environment of the Rwandan civil society to see whether it permits them to be very effective in the way they operate in this effective agenda. My suspicion is that there are still some gaps to fill as regards the enabling environment for civil society organizations in Rwanda. We've seen that there are still some challenges that need to be addressed. We've seen that there is a need for civil society to keep engaging with the government and other stakeholders, including the donors. There is a need for the donors and civil society to be accountable to different constituencies. There's a need for a government to keep being accountable and transparent to the people, and also a donor to harmonize their funding operations to the different governments according to the Busan outcome. The next is that we want to use the research document for Robe to engage other development actors that are concerned to see how the challenges highlighted in the research can be addressed. What I would add is that engagement is a continuous process. It doesn't have any end as long as life is still existing, and we shall keep engaging with whoever is concerned, and we shall keep doing that as long as we want to see the efficiency in our development agenda. And the last is to say that we want to engage as much as possible with other development actors to make sure that our citizens' poverty is reduced. They enjoy the good living standards, and also the rights of different people are respected, and also everybody is accountable to his or her constituency. Thank you very much.